discuss this further is Sir Jeremy Quinn, who served as a Defence Procurement Minister and now chairs the House of Commons Defence Select Committee. Welcome to Newsnight. What do you think the government have got to put right?
Well, our report was about readiness. So there's absolutely no doubt we've got incredibly professional armed forces and they're very productive. They do a tremendous job. But the dynamics have changed, the threat has changed, and our question was, are we ready for the worst of all scenarios, which is a peer-on-peer, prolonged, high-intensity
Russia.
Russia. Would we be able to step up to that challenge in the way we all want to, if that happened? Because the reason why you need to have the right answer for that is deterrence. It's knowing that there is no circumstances where this will happen, because we're putting the resources and devoting the investment to ensure that it cannot.
And basically, your report found that readiness was very poor, didn't it, for that scenario? We
believe there's a lot of work to do. So in terms of retaining and recruiting the brilliant people we need to have in our armed forces, in terms of the munitions stockpiles that we need to have in those scenarios, in terms of being able to train and put enough resources and energy alongside our allies to prepare for that scenario, no, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
And presumably, well, I don't want to presume, but were you among the Conservatives who were disappointed in the last budget?
Yes, I mean, there's a lot that the government is getting right, so they are spending more money on defence. This country was right up there when Ukraine kicked off, and we showed a leading role. So there's a lot that the government has got right, and they do have this ambition to get to 2.5%. But I really want to see a timescale to that, because we need to make certain that investment is coming into force.
It's vaguely defined, isn't it? It's a kind of sometime to 2.5%, whereas a lot of other European countries now are stepping up significantly.
We've always been above 2%, which is the right place to be in terms of NATO, but I just don't think that is sufficient in the current context. So we need to get to 2.5%. It's right that it's an ambition. We just need to know what the timing is for that to be invested.
Would you expect to see that 2.5% solidly with a timescale in the next Conservative manifesto?
I would certainly want to see that. And there is good news. The economy is turning. The government has said in terms of the timing for that will be when the fiscal circumstances are right. Now, I think getting that investment should be, whatever the economic circumstances, we've got to move on it. But there is also good economic news coming through. We've seen that with inflation. We've seen that in the growth forecasts. Maybe now's the moment.
Now, you know that a lot of people, whether it's in the Treasury or whether it's in the wider public, the case that has to be made, that we were hearing from Scarlett Maguire to a lot of sections of the public, feel that defence has wasted a lot of money, that billions have been wasted. And we've got a flavour of that from some of the speakers today. So what do you do about that? How do you solve that problem? How do you convince people that this money won't be frittered away?
Well, there is a certain amount of money you just need to spend on defence. It's non-discretionary. We need to make certain that we are spending the right amount of money to keep us safe. Yes, there are always things the MOD can do better. We'll have the Defence Secretary in front of the committee next Tuesday. We will be asking him difficult questions, as we always do. But I have to say, I think there has been some positive changes over the last 5 years in how the MOD has approached procurement. A lot of these projects are very long-term, but the Defence Security and Industrial Strategy was a good step forward, working more collaboratively with industry.
Sorry, we've not got much time, but you were fairly recently Defence Procurement Minister. We now hear about a 16 billion gap in funding. It sounds like the same old problems haven't been gripped in spending by equipment spending by this government.
Of the number you're referring to, 10 billion of that was inflation. We've got inflation in the system, partly because, of course, there's been war in Ukraine, the kind of things that we're trying to deter by spending appropriately on defence. Look, there's more that the MOD needs to do. The integrated procurement model they announced last couple of weeks is a good step forward. They need to get their house better and get it in order, but that will come alongside additional investment. We will get to where we need to be.
Jeremy Quinn.